Welcome to In Her Voice, a podcast created for women who listen to and live by their deepest wisdom, their inner voice. This was made for you, the woman who feels pulled to more, to lead, to create, to dream, and to be a world changer. My name is Kelly Covert, and I am an inner voice coach. Join me here each week as we explore what it means to reach for your inspired potential, all while honoring your worthiness each and every day. Hi, how are you today? I'm so glad that you decided to press play. I have got something really fun and really special for all of my perfectionists out there. I've been thinking a lot about perfectionism as per usual, because as a recovering perfectionist, it's something that I still bump up against. Yes, it's true. It never goes away. And I've been starting to realize that there's actually a lot of different kinds of ways perfectionism can show up in our lives. And I was thinking about sort of the different ways. And, it's not that only one way shows up. I mean, I think that we all have a little bit of all of it inside of us. But I think really starting to understand your type of perfectionism, if you will, helps you be able to have better strategies for moving yourself out of that perfectionism. Because as we all know, perfection is a myth. Perfectionism keeps us stuck. It keeps us from being who we were born to be. It keeps us from being our authentic selves. It will continually rub on you, and it will literally rub you raw. It rubs your soul raw because it is just this impossible cycle to be in. And I'm all about helping women step out of that cycle and put an end to it and say, you know what? No more. I am not going to let this need to be perfect control my life any longer. So I am going to share with you the 4 kinds of perfectionists. This is my unscientific research and opinion based on what I know to be true about myself, and also based on what I know to be true about the many, many women and perfectionists that I have worked with as a coach. So you might see yourself in all of these, and that's fine too. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to share each type with you, and then a strategy of how to work on that and help you break that cycle. So the first, and I made up names for all of them, and I hope that you enjoy it as much as I enjoy it. So the first kind of perfectionist is what I call the Dory. So this is the just keep swimming, don't stop, don't stop, don't stop. If I could just keep doing more, that will get me to perfect. This is the more is better kind of perfectionism. And number one, if this is you, if you feel like you might be a Dory, I just want to extend some compassion to you because it's an exhausting way to live. And if you're tired, it's because you're doing so much. And I just want to send some love your way because it's not easy. It's not easy to feel like you always need to do more to be better or even to be best. So, this is your typical type A, chronic overachiever, the person with many degrees hanging on the wall, always seeking out the next best thing to do, always looking for affirmation, always feeling like they must do everything in order to look perfect and in order to feel perfect, in order to feel good enough. So if you think that you might be a Dory, I have a strategy for you. You're not going to like it, but it works. And this is it. Stop, rest, breathe, think about what you really want what you really desire to have in your life, and only say yes to those things. I'm going to say it again. Stop. Just stop. Get still. Rest. Breathe. Think about what you really want. And this might be more difficult than it sounds. And it might require some soul searching. It might require some deep connection with your inner voice, but you can do it. And once you are clear on what you want, on what you desire to have in your life, only say yes to those things. Whew. This takes practice, my friends, and I will be completely transparent and say, the Dory comes up in me sometimes, and I have to take a step back and remind myself I do not have to do everything. I am not required to be everything for every single person. Not only am I not required, it is impossible. It is impossible. Once you recognize you don't have to be good at everything, you will be amazed at the freedom that you can find in that. The freedom that comes up for you when you realize, oh, hey, I don't have to do it all. And, that chronic overachieving that feels like it's the path to happiness will only lead to exhaustion. It will only lead to being burnt out. It will not help you feel the way you want to feel. So that's the Dory. The next kind of perfectionist is what I call the Scream. So, that Edvard Munch painting of the Scream, that's this kind of perfectionist. And that is when perfectionism leads you to feeling completely overwhelmed and completely frozen. If I can't do it right, I just won't do it. And again, I think that I see me in all of these things. And so I have so much compassion for wherever you might be identifying yourself. And, what happens for me when I get overwhelmed and frozen is, I just start binging Netflix. And that doesn't make me feel good either, right? And so it really is about recognizing when you're coming to that wall of like, this is too much, this is too much, this is too much. So what is the strategy? If you are in the Scream of feeling overwhelmed and frozen in your perfectionism, what's the strategy? One small step, one tiny action. Sometimes all it takes is one tiny action to break that ice of frozen overwhelm, right? To break the ice and to feel like you start to get your momentum back. Just one tiny step. Another strategy that I really love to use when I'm feeling frozen, like there's no way I can do it the way that I want to do it, so I just won't do it at all. That's another kind of frozen, right? Is I allow B+ work. So ask yourself the question, what happens if I just do average work today? What happens if I lay aside my need for perfection? And listen, I don't think we say, I want this to be perfect. We say things like, I want to do the best that I can do. I want to do this with excellence. I have standards. There's a certain quality that I want to live up to. I get all of that. But what happens if you just allow yourself to do B+ work? Just average, just be average. And I know you're not average. I know you're above average. Just allow it, because here's the kicker. Average work trumps no work. If you are feeling frozen, you're not doing anything. And B+ work is something. And a lot of times that will get your juices flowing. It will get your creativity there. It will get you in that zone. And then you can push past that feeling of frozen. So the strategy again, one small step, one tiny action and allow B plus work. As hard as that is, trust me, I know, just try it. I want you to experiment with this if you feel like you might be the perfectionist that I call the scream. Okay, here's the third type. This one is called the imposter. And what I wrote in my notes is, don't you dare look under my bed. All right. So outwardly presenting as perfect. I've got my shit together. I can do it all. Like I'm on top of things. Look at how organized and how beautiful and all of the things, right? But inwardly ashamed of all the stuff that you're hiding under your bed, all the stuff that you don't want to see, all the fears that you're totally faking it and that someone is gonna find you out. Again, compassion. This is hard. It's hard to feel like that. It sucks to feel like that because then it's like you have to keep the persona, the facade, you have to keep it up, and that becomes exhausting. And then you find yourself moving over to a Dory, right? Where I just have to keep going. I just have to keep going. I don't want anyone to realize all of this is just made up. It's just fake. So what's the strategy if you're feeling like you're an imposter, like that you just have all of these things that you're hiding and you can't even imagine what might happen if someone figured it out? Here it is. It's not easy, but it works. You got to start shining the light on what you are hiding. It's like hide and seek. When you play hide and seek, and you are not the seeker, but you're the hider. You go and you hide in a spot and you are by yourself. You are alone. And I never liked playing hide and seek when I was a kid. And now I realize why. Like when I'm playing with people, I want to play with people. I want to be with people. I want to be in connection. And hide and seek is lonely. It's a lonely game. And if you are always hiding your true self, even if you might be feeling ashamed of that or embarrassed of that, you will be alone. No matter how many friends you have that see you as this perfect being, you are alone. And that is really, really hard. And I don't want you to feel lonely. I don't want you to feel alone. And the interesting thing is when you start shining the light on these things that you're hiding, these things that you're embarrassed about, or maybe that you're ashamed of, you know what you find out? That it's not just you. You are not alone. You are not the only person who feels this way. You're not the only person who is struggling. And then all of a sudden you have a community that opens their arms to you and says, everything's going to be okay. We love you just the way you are. You don't have to put up the perfect front in order to receive love. So for the I'm skipping ahead. For the imposter, the strategy, start shining that light on all the stuff that you're hiding. And if that feels really scary at first, and it might, remember, you don't have to do that in a public forum. You don't have to do that on Facebook or Instagram, right? You can do it with people that you love and people that care about you and people that you trust. In fact, that's should be where you start this practice. So I really encourage you to find that courage to share the things that you're embarrassed about, because man, when you start doing that, it is such a relief to not have to hide it anymore. It is such a relief. When I started sharing, one of the biggest things for me that was really hard to share with people is that I did not feel like I was a good mom. I felt like I was like messing it up. I was messing my kids up. I wasn't doing it right. And I for sure did not want anybody to know that that's how I felt. And when I started really opening up and sharing that with people, I discovered every mom feels that way. Every single mom feels that way. And every single mom is afraid to talk about it. So you can also think of it like this. When you find the courage to start sharing these things with people that you love and trust, you might also be the inspiration for someone else to work through that same thing. And that is really amazing. Okay, so the fourth kind of perfectionist, which I kind of gave you a sneak peek because I slipped, is the control freak. Oh, I've got a lot of this in me. My way or the highway. I'm just better off doing it myself. I'm just, you know what, like, don't put me on a team project because I am just better than all of you. Just give it to me and I will do it, and I will do it my way. What this really is a fear of failure. It's a fear of failure. If I trust somebody else and they mess up, what does that mean about me? What does that make me? I don't want anybody to mess up for me. I want to be in charge of everything. And because if I'm in charge of everything, I can make sure every I is dotted and every T is crossed, and then everything will be fine. Okay, number one, exhausting. Number two, do you really want to be controlling of every single person and situation and circumstance that you're in? While that allows you to anticipate better your own feelings and experience, it takes away from you what I think is truly living. And that is being in the moment and being able to be in connection with someone and experience things as they happen. And yes, that does mean that experience might be failure. But that's how we learn and that's how we grow. So what is the strategy here for the my way or the highway control freak? A lot of these strategies will sound familiar based on the other ones, but they all work. B+ work. Allow yourself to be average. Allow yourself to risk failure, okay? Rest. If you are a my way or the highway control freak, you are freaking exhausted. Take some time off. Shut the brain down. Get still and just be. And again, when you start practicing this, when you start trusting other people and being able to delegate to other people, and this is true no matter where you are in your life. This might be true in a marriage or partnership, in parenthood. This might be true at work. This might be true for you in your business. If you are an entrepreneur and you are thinking of bringing someone on to help you, it might be true there. There's a lot of ways that this can come up for us. And it's really important to choose the people you trust to begin practicing this, right? And be transparent with them. Say, this is really hard for me. How can we do this together? How can tell that person what you need from them if it's hard for you to trust. Do you need regular updates? Maybe that's a baby step for you into really letting go of the reins and letting go of that need to hold on so tightly to the outcome every single time. The other thing that I think really works for a strategy for the control freak is to reflect your judgment of others back to you. So what I mean is, chances are if you're a control freak, you also have like a running criticism of everybody that you work with in your mind, right? And what happens when you start to reflect some of that back to you? A lot of times when you're being judgy of other people, it's really not the other person that you're being judgy of. It's actually yourself. So you can say, oh, like I feel this about this person. And then ask yourself the question, am I afraid of coming off as that in my own life? Am I afraid of having that quality in my own life? Do I hide that quality in my own life? And wow, that is a very revealing practice. And you start to see, oh, hey, it's not really about the other people. It's really about myself. It's really about me afraid of being revealed So we can also go back to those imposter strategies too, because I think there's a little bit of that mixed up in the my way or the highway control freak. So, this is really becomes a process, all of these, of learning how to love yourself despite the fact that you are imperfect. And what I really want to drive home with this is when women with big visions and big ideas of what they are meant to be doing in the world, of a sense of purpose, right? When women like that, women like you, get stuck in a cycle of perfectionism, you are only keeping everyone else in this world from being able to experience your greatness. You are so amazing that even your B+ work is needed. We need that from you. Your B+ work will be better than you staring at Schitt's Creek for 3 hours in a row. Trust me, it will be. And I want you to feel like fired up and encouraged by this. So start using these strategies to break that cycle of perfectionism. Those of you who are entrepreneurs, or maybe you like the idea of being an entrepreneur, you have an idea, but you just can't seem to get started. Or maybe you don't even know where to begin and you feel like you get stuck in that paralyzed place of like, oh my gosh, I'm just going to mess this up. Why would I even start? Or there's so many things I don't even know where to begin. Maybe you just have a feeling that there is something more for you, an idea that's still like in the seed phase, that it's there. That feeling that you were put here for a reason? That's not by accident. So maybe you even just have the beginning ideas of what that means for you and what that looks like. But if this is you, I want you to know that I have something to help you with this. The Idea Hour is for people like you, for people who feel stuck in the process of living out their purpose. We get so overwhelmed. There's so many ideas. There's so many things to do. There's so many steps to take. What is next? And, if you're a Dory, you just like plow through all those, maybe without really sitting with what is the best next step. Okay. If you're the Scream, right, you're frozen. You're not going anywhere. You're not taking any action. If you're the imposter, you're so afraid of messing up and of doing something wrong and have people seeing that you maybe don't have it all together, that you might not take that first step. And if you're the control freak, it's really hard to get out of your own head and to be open to creative ideas and to what your inner voice is saying. So an Idea Hour is built for you to really understand what is next, to get clear on your ideas, to understand if you are in the beginning stages of a business or a podcast or writing a book or doing something big that you were born to do. Where do you begin? Let's start in an Idea Hour. We pull the ideas out. And I know I say this a lot, and I don't say it lightly. This is my superpower, you guys. This is what I am good at. I feel like I was put here to help you with this. And it brings me so much life. So if you're ready to finally take that first step, but you just don't know what the first step is, sign up for an Idea Hour. You can do it at kellycovert.com/ideas. And I'll put the link in the show notes. But this is 1 hour for you. It's brainstorming up-leveled. It's intuitive. We listen to your inner voice and we create an action plan that you can implement easily and with fun. It's so joyful. It's so light. You will love it. So sign up for yours, kellycovert.com/ideas. I can't wait. Like, I'm rubbing my hands together already in anticipation of our time together because it is so powerful and so life-giving to both of us. If you struggle with perfectionism in the ways that I shared today, I just want to encourage you to implement even just one of these small strategies. And let me know. It's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy. It's work. But it's work that's worth it because it moves you into a place where you're loving yourself instead of requiring perfection all the time in a way that is unattainable and impossible and, quite frankly, life-sucking. I don't want that for you. I want you to feel joy. I want you to feel freedom. I want you to feel like you can be you because you are worthy.